guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Bree if you are new here, and in today's video I am testing out another new palette. In today's video I am trying out the Anastasia Beverly Hills Norvina Volume 5 palette. It is no secret that on my channel I love these palettes, so I'm very excited to have this one. If I'm being honest with you, when I first saw it I was like, I don't need that. It's pretty, but I don't need it. And then I kind of kept looking at it and I was like, you know, it looks a lot like the original Norvina palette, the one that comes in the smaller packaging. And I really like the colors of that palette, but the formula just isn't my favorite, whereas the Norvina volume line is one of my favorite eyeshadow formulas. And I kept looking at it and I was like, you know what, I think I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it. And then I got it in the mail and I was blown away. This palette is stunning. So I'm super excited to have it. I love the way that this look turned out. So before I jump into the look, let me jump in and show you guys some swatches. Okay, so right here are the first 3 rows. So we have like A down here and then B in the middle and then the C row up at the top. These shadows, some of them didn't swatch the greatest, mostly because of the angle of my hand, if I'm being honest with you. But so far, like obviously I've already played with the palette, but this is my first time swatching it. Gorgeous shades. We're gonna ignore this swatch right here. I don't really know what happened, right? Let me re-swatch that one. This shade right here, this kind of white goldy shade is, it's similar to in volume, let me wipe these off while I talk to you guys. The volume 4 palette had a couple shades similar to that in texture. It's kind of like a pressed glitter, but kind of not. It's a much finer glitter than like your ColourPop pressed glitters, but has like a really good impact to it, and something in it just makes it like foily and glittery, and it's gorgeous on the eyes. They're some of my favorite shadows to play with. One day I'll be good at this, but here are the last 2 rows. So I have the D row right here and then the E row right here. This shade right here and this shade right here, holy shit, those are gorgeous foils. This one right here is another one of those kind of pressed glitters. It's not really reading too well on the camera. It kind of just looks like a reflect. Let me see if that, there we go. That kind of shows you guys just a little bit better. It's like a pinky gold glitter with like reflects of blue and green and purple in it. It is gorgeous. But the bottom shades, what happened over here? The bottom shades are super pigmented. This one's really cool. It's kind of like a black, thicker foil with like a magenta like reflect in it. It's really, really pretty. But those are the swatches. If you guys are interested in seeing how I got this look, then just keep on watching. I already primed my lids and I set my brow bone. I have a particular style of eyeshadow that I like to do. I've just never done it with color before, and I actually have, it's not up yet, but it's going to be up this month, the neutral version of it going up with a palette throwback Thursday. But I wanted to try it today with this palette and with color. You guys have already seen the swatches. I haven't swatched it yet, so this is going to be my first time touching it, playing with it, but here it is. It's just so pretty. It's so, so pretty. I'm gonna start off with a big fluffy brush and I'm gonna go into the shade B3. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this color and I'm going to start actually on my inner corner in the crease. I'm going to build up that color and probably stop about 2/3 of the way out. And I'm going to keep it up rather than bringing it back down. It's okay if the lid gets just a little bit messy because it'll end up getting covered in the end. Next up, I'm going to take a smaller fluffy brush and I'm going to dip into the shade C3. and pretty much do exactly what I just did, except for take it out just not quite as far and keep it just a little bit lower. This color is super pigmented. I will say already right out the gate, the original purple that I used, B3, is significantly more pigmented than the like lavender lilac shade that's in the Norvina Volume 4 palette. And then I'm going to take a really small pointed fluffy brush and I'm going to dip into the shade E5 and just really deepen up the crease. So we're going to keep it lower and definitely not go out as far as we did before. But starting on the inner corner and just really windshield wiper motions right here. And real quick, back, I'm not going to pick up anything new. Back over it with the two shades that I just used. And then I'm going to take this big fluffy brush and I'm actually just going to dip into that top shade, A1, which is just a white shade, and just run this right up at the very tippy top. Alright, it looks kind of weird right now, but it'll all come together at the end. Which color do I want to use? I had originally, in my plans, picked C2, which is this silver shade. The other option is B1, which has just a little bit more of a gold reflect to it. I think I'm going to stick with C1. B1 is, or excuse me, I'm going to stick with C2. B1's super pretty, it's just not quite, it's a little too gold. So I'm going to take my finger rather, and just press that, wow, on the open space of my lids and kind of using my finger to clean up any little bit of mess that might have happened on the lower end of that blend. And I'm going to take it all the way over. It's so interesting because the shadow itself feels very like hard pressed. When I first put my finger in it, I was like, oh, this is probably going to be a little bit lackluster. And I was very wrong. Really quick, I'm just going to take that brush that I used with A1 with nothing else on it, and I'm just going to diffuse that edge just a little bit. Alright, so far so good. I'm pleased so far. I'm going to jump off and toss on a pretty good sized wing and toss on my base, and I will be back to continue working on this look. Alright, so for my cheeks, I'm going to go in with the NYX Sweet Cheeks blush in So Taupe and contour a little bit, and then use the Positions Formula Butter Bronzer to bronze up my skin. I realized while I was looking at my iPad that I lied to you guys earlier. I got my two neutral matte palettes mixed up, and the neutral version of this eye look is actually already up on my channel. I will link it up in the eye down below for you guys because I lied to you. It's my clay play look. I have another neutral matte look coming up actually this week that it's not the same look. I thought it was, but it's not. For my under eyes, I'm going to focus the depth on the outer corner of my eye rather than the inner corner. And I'm going to start off with E5, use a little liner brush, kind of smoke that out a little bit, and then I'm going to blend it out with E2 and A5. Probably A5 first and then E2 to blend that out. So right now I am using E2 just to blend everything out, and then actually instead of A5, I'm going to go into A4 to just finish off the blend. A4 is a little bit lighter than A5. And then dipping back into A1, just going to make sure that everything's really nice and blended. And then last but not least, I'm going to take a small, flat, but still kind of fluffy brush, and I'm going to dip into A1 and put that right in this area right here. And then for my blush, I can't quite decide, so I think I'm just going to use all three. I'm going to go in with the e.l.f. Primer Infused blush in Always Rosy, the NYX Sweet Cheeks blush in Rose and Play, and then I'm going to top it all off with the Milani Baked Blush in Petal Primavera. I think I'm just going to focus Always Rosy a little bit farther back and then put Rose and Play like on the apples of my cheek. And then for highlight, I am going to dip into the Catrice More Than a Glow Highlight in Supreme Rose Beam. And after that, I am going to jump off to finish up this look, and I will be back to show you guys what is on my lips and show you guys the final look. Alright, so for my lips, I went in with the NYX Lingerie XXL in the shade Undressed, and this is the final look. I love the way that it turned out. Like I said, I've never done this like style of makeup that I like with color. I've always ever done it with neutrals, so I actually really like the way that it turned out. I think it's really fun looking. I think that the liner and the wings really make the eye shape of the shadow just really pop, and overall I'm really happy with how it turned out. And I'm really happy with how this palette performed. I think that it's gorgeous. In my opinion, between this one and Volume 4, I think that those two are the most wearable out of all of them. The other ones are very pigmented and have a lot of color in them, but I think that this one in particular is very wearable for a lot of people. It's got a lot of good depth in it, so it's gonna look really good on a lot of skin tones. And it has enough neutrals that it's versatile. Obviously, yes, you're kind of tied into pinks, purples, and browns, but that is pretty, like, I mean, I feel like not a lot of people are walking around with like blue eyeshadow every single day unless you're someone like me, but I feel like your day-to-day average wearer doesn't wear a lot of like bright colors or anything like that. So I feel like this actually really covers a lot of the bases of being very wearable, but also having enough spice in it that you could do kind of a night out look or just a fun look or anything like that. So I'm really happy. I think that it's pretty. I think that the outside packaging is stunning. And just overall, I'm really happy and I would recommend it. I think that it's really pretty. It's no secret that I love the Norvina palettes. I have all of them except for one of the minis, just because that one's in particular didn't really do it for me, but I own all of them. I use them all regularly. I talk about them all the time on this channel. I love the formula. I love the quality. I love the palettes. I just think that they're really pretty. Yes, this palette could be viewed as large for some people, but I think that it's really pretty. The packaging of it's really nice, really stable, really sturdy, and I just think it's a really good palette. So I recommend it, and that's that. So comment down below and let me know if you think you're going to be picking up this palette, or if you already did pick up this palette. I would love to know. Please subscribe if you have not already. It would mean the world to me. Like this video, ring the bell, do all the things. I hope that you guys have an awesome day, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye!